But I reject the argument that that we can base a Supreme Court decision on what he's tweeted in the past.
You know, I'd further note that the court actually embraced some of the arguments you made with respect to the peculiarity of the Muslim ban argument. The chief notes in passing that if this is in fact a Muslim ban, that it has several strange features. In the first place, it applies only to a handful of Muslim countries. It's actually applicable against 8% of the world's Muslim population, i.e. 92% of the world's Muslims are still eligible to enter the United States. And then it actually has a fairly robust visa waiver program. Perhaps I shouldn't say robust. There's some dispute over how robust, in fact, the waiver program is. But there is a mechanism by which individuals in sanctioned countries can obtain a waiver from the travel ban and still enter the United States lawfully. That's a very peculiar exception to include in a proclamation if your purpose is actually to promulgate a Muslim ban.
Right. Like I said in the introduction, if it's a Muslim ban, it's a very, very dumb one that doesn't apply to most of the Muslims in our world. Also, these nations as a whole can get themselves off this list by stopping funding terrorism, stop exporting terrorists to wage their attacks, and provide some sort of background check so that we can vet the people that are coming from their country. It's not something that they are not in control of. If they alter their behavior, they will be eligible to come into our country. I know that I'm going to get in trouble for doing this. I want to cover, we're almost out of time, I want to cover the other case, too, the other significant case about the crisis pregnancy centers, the pro-life pregnancy centers in the state of California that were forced by the California state government to post on the wall of their center advertisements for state-sponsored free abortions, obviously counter to the entire idea of their establishment. I mean, they're pro-life. They're having to advertise abortion. It's compelled speech. The Supreme Court said that it likely violates the First Amendment. Why only likely?
So it's important to note that this decision does not actually strike down the California law, which is called the Reproductive Fact Act. This case reached the high court on a motion for a preliminary injunction. These pro-life clinics were asking a federal court to temporarily enjoin the California law while a constitutional dispute on the merits was litigated in the courts. The Supreme Court in today's decision is essentially saying, yes, we think that this law is constitutionally dubious, and when this case reverts back to the trial court, they ought to issue an injunction and strike this law down when it reaches the trial phase.
Right, because as we remember, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld this law because they said it regulated quote-unquote professional speech, an invention by the Ninth Circuit Court that does not exist in our Constitution. There's no exception. The Supreme Court ruled today that speech is not unprotected merely because it is uttered by professionals.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.